this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
What if mind control is real?
If you could control the behavior of anybody around you, what kind of life would you have?
Can you hypnotically persuade someone to buy a car?
When you look at your car, you're going to become overwhelmed with such good feelings.
Can you hypnotize someone into sleeping with you?
I gave her some suggestions to be sexually aroused.
Can you get someone to join your cult?
NLP was used on me to access my subconscious.
Mind Games, a new podcast exploring NLP, aka neuro-linguistic programming. Is it a self-help miracle, a shady hypnosis scam, or both? Listen to Mind Games on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can scroll the headlines all day and still feel empty. I'm Ben Higgins, and If You Can Hear Me is where culture meets the soul. Honest conversations about identity, loss, purpose, peace, faith, and everything in between. Celebrities, thinkers, everyday people, some have answers, most are still figuring it out. And if you've ever felt like there has to be more to the story, this show is for you. Listen to If You Can Hear Me on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, it's Jill Winterstein, host of the Spirit Daughter podcast, where we talk about astrology, natal charts, and how to step into your most vibrant life. And today I'm talking with my dear friend, Krista Williams.
It can change you in the best way possible. Dance with the change, dance with the breakdowns.
The embodiment of Pisces intuition with Capricorn power moves.
So I'm like delusionally proud of my chart.
Listen to the Spirit Daughter podcast starting on February 24th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I'm Amanda Knox, and in the new podcast, Doubt, the Case of Lucy Letby, we unpack the story of an unimaginable tragedy that gripped the UK in 2023. But what if we didn't get the whole story?
Evidence has been made to fit.
The moment you look at the whole picture, the case collapsed.
What if the truth was disguised by a story we chose to believe?
Oh my God, I think she might be innocent.
Listen to Doubt, the Case of Lucy Letby on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh my gosh, it's Behind the Bastards again. Part 2 of what will be our 4-parter on Tzar Nicholas II. A dude who sucked pretty hard. With me.
4 episodes worth.
Yeah. What a dick. The Tsar, huh? A lot of possible titles for this one, Jeff. How are you doing? How are you holding in there, Jeff?
Me, I feel great. I love that. Like the fact that you know how sometimes like you were like structurally designed to do something?
Yeah.
That's this specific thing right now.
Yeah. You were built for it.
Like you were built for it. A Russian history podcast where I get to talk about how much someone sucks.
Your knowledge of Russian history, your experience as a teacher, your years as a boxer, all of it coming together in this endurance test of a podcast episode.
I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in.
Boy, howdy, Jeff. You are a podcaster. You have a podcast called Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on the Gamefully Unemployed Network. You have a podcast called Jeff Has Cool Friends. And you've got a sports podcast. That's about the sportses.
I do. You don't even like sports.
I don't know anything about sports.
That's fair. That would be perfect for you then.
Because that's the name of your podcast, more or less.
So I do that. So Tom and Jeff Watch Batman is with Tom Ryman. Who you may know, and you don't even like sports with Adam Todd Brown. So it's all a very incestuous,
circle of content creators getting their gooey ideas all over each other. Like the Tsar doing, I don't know, actually more like the Tsar's uncle during one of those drinking sessions with the boys.
Yeah. Just hanging out with the boys, baby.
Now, Jeff, you famously, unless this has changed, got drunk exactly once while performing a live show.
I did. The one time. I did it at a thing called Performing Under the Influence. It was the partial subject of a Cracked article. I got drunk for the first time at 33.
Which is a rough time to deal with your first hangover.
You know what's funny is I didn't wake up hungover. I drank a ton of water before I went to bed, and then I just woke up still a little drunk and then fine.
Excellent.
But I haven't been drunk since.
Well, I don't think the Tsar and his buddies had a lot of easy nights because champagne hangovers are a fucking nightmare, and it kind of seems like they pounded nothing but champagne and hard liquor.
Real champagne in the ass right there.
Jeff, When we last left, our buddy, our old friend, our pal, Nicholas II, his dad had just died, which is normally a very sad thing, and I'm sure was for him, but also his dad was an anti-Semitic monster who used his brother to force all of the Jews out of Moscow, and so I don't know. I'm pretty glad that he died of kidney failure at age 49. That seems like a good time for him to die.
Here's what I'll say though, is that you're not doing your Behind the Bastards about him.
No, although he did play quite a role. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he's definitely a key ingredient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this stew that is now about to be the Tsar. And Nicholas, he's basically the Tsar as soon as his dad dies. He doesn't get coronated for like 2 years. Like, it's a whole thing when you're crowning a new Tsar. You got to get a lot of shit locked down. It's a big deal for everybody in Russia.
I would think.
Mm-hmm. And all around Europe, you got to get all of the Queen Victoria's kids to come over. You got to set up a special house for the Kaiser, who's weird and nobody wants to hang out with. You got to figure out who's sitting where at the table. And again, nobody wants to sit next to the Kaiser.
You got to get your late century Russian version of Garth Brooks to come to sing a song.
Yeah. And songs for the Tsar. So they're all about how cool the Tsar, or how hard it is to be a Tsar. I would guess it's that. It's like my peasants left me and my carriage got bombed by the communists.
It's friends in low palaces.
Yeah.
Thank you. Follow me on Twitter, everybody.
Now that's pretty good. So Nicholas, obviously not a particularly optimistic journey to power. His immediate reaction is, oh, fuck, I'm going to be terrible at this, which would mark the only time in his life that he would be right about something meaningful.
He nailed that shit.
He really got that one right, like perfect. Yeah?
He's like, I'm going to eat a big old donkey dick about this one. And they're like, you sure are.
I am going to fuck this up. Boy, howdy, am I going to be bad at this job.
It's like he quantum leapt into that job.
Yeah.
And he just shows up out of nowhere being like, well, I have to figure out how to do this now.
It was like me when I briefly worked at Sonic. Like, I am not going to do well at this.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, yeah.
You worked at
Sonic? My first job. Yeah.
Your first job was at Sonic?
It was horrible. Yeah.
I'm very jealous because when you find out what my first job is, it's very weird.
What?
I dug holes in a graveyard.
That sounds so much better than working at Sonic.
It sure doesn't. I dug. You know who doesn't want to know that is everyone that you go to school with.
That is probably true.
I dug the plots to headstones, the foundation holes for headstones.
That is a rough series of conversations with your peers. Like, yeah, I got a double shift at McDonald's. Oh, I got to go, work as a cashier at the Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I got to go dig some graves.
Yeah, I got to dig some graves.
Got to put some corpse holes in the ground.
It paid so well. But like people would be like, what do you do? And I'd be like, nothing. I deal drugs.
I mean, shit, it does sound like a great job to listen to books on tape during.
Yeah, but that was 1998.
Right. iPods were just a glimmer in Steve Jobs' eye.
Yeah, you'd have to have like an old skipping Discman next to you, listening to one of the 4 CDs that you own at the time.
Yes.
And they get dirt all over them. Yeah, it's boombox era, and you can't have a boombox in a graveyard. Because I don't know if you know this about graveyards, but they prefer to not have loud blaring music.
That would be really funny. Just like listening to fucking Fleetwood Mac and digging graves.
Yeah, while they're trying to lower somebody down while like the chain is blasting.
Yeah. No, yeah. You put on, for them lowering the corpse down, you put on
The answer is Freebird.
Freebird, yeah,
that's the actual answer.
Or Monster Mash,
which is what they lowered my cousin to. Is Freebird?
That's fair.
It was, yeah.
That is what that song's for.
It took a while for them to start it, and to me, I thought that was really funny. That they were like trying to figure out
how to get to the
CD
part
player
that you
wasn't working properly, and I was like, man, this is boy. The poetry to this is weird because it was like a shitty small boombox, so the acoustics weren't great.
Alexander III does not have a great funeral because they fuck up the embalming. So it's like horrible and nasty. And it's the kind of thing where like the number one thing you read about him in like summaries of the czars is that like they didn't embalm him properly and it was super gross, which I guess is a fair thing to have as your main legacy as a guy who's did a bunch of racism. Like,
fair.
Yeah, had a gross funeral.
William the Conqueror exploded at his funeral.
Yes, he sure did.
I like a good bad funeral.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones with royalty. So yeah, he becomes the Tsar. His younger brother is his heir at first because though he and Alexandra are together, they have not had a boy yet. Georgie,
so he's the Scar.
Yeah. He's the
without a Simba.
Yeah, except for Georgie like dies of tuberculosis, so he's not a very good Scar.
He's got a lung scar.
He does have a lung scar, yeah, and it kills him slowly, which is a problem because he's the only one of them who has any sense, and he probably would have done a much better job, but he has to spend all of his time, like they have him stay on the beach basically because they think it'll not kill him faster, but he dies pretty quick anyway. So Nicholas gets coronated in 1886. I wrote 1986. That's not when it happened.
They had a bit of a waiting period.
Yeah. Yeah, they waited until Reagan was in office. They needed to get him down there. He has a big ceremonial party, right? The thing you'd expect. And it's not just a party for the nobles of Europe and stuff. There's also a party for the peasants because the Romanovs and the peasants have this sacred bond, right? And Nicholas wants to honor that and build some goodwill with the little people. So he makes like a bunch of gift bags for them that have like some sausage and some special baked goods and like a nice mug. And he gets like 300,000 of these gift bags together for the poor people.
Damn.
Now, problem, about 1 million of them show up. 800,000, something like that.
So it's not like, it's like bobblehead night. You got to do like the first 10,000 people.
It's like bobblehead night or 10-cent beer night. Like it goes immediately awry because there's not enough of this shit. Now, the other problem is that he had put Grand Duke Sergei, who, the drunken racist piece of shit dude, he was the guy in charge of planning this event for the peasants. So he doesn't get enough gift bags and he doesn't have any kind of real crowd control. He doesn't have enough people there to like deal with the size of crowd that there's going to be. And when people realize there's not enough gifts, they start like rushing to try to get at the last ones. And then there is a stampede. And it is a stampede of 800,000 people in an area that is not prepared at all for crowd control and doesn't have anybody dedicated to keeping people safe. It's real bad.
Is anything prepared for 800,000 people?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I went to when I was younger, in 2013, I think it was, I went to the Kumbh Mela in India. And every time this gathering is held, it's this big religious gathering. And it's held in 4 different cities once every 4 years. And there's one city, Allahabad, where it's like most holy when they do it there every 12 years. And every time they do it, it's the biggest gathering of people in the history of the human race for any reason. And when I was there, it was about 100 million people in tents. And there was one stampede at a train station that killed like 30 something people, but really like it was fine. I think it went pretty well. There was like one day where 30 million people all bathed at the same time in the Ganges. Like India handles that shit pretty well, actually.
Yeah. I remember like the Hajj, people would die on the Hajj all the time.
There's been some horrible stampedes with thousands. But that's
like a bonus if you die on the Hajj.
Well, it is pretty holy way to die, you know? Yeah. I don't know if it's a bonus, but
if you die on the Hajj, you immediately get sent to paradise.
I'm not an expert. I know that like it's definitely like if it's not the worst way to go. Although I think getting crushed to death is the worst way to go. But like dying doing like the holiest thing you can do in your religion is probably of some comfort. This is not that because nobody's doing anything holy. They're trying to get cups. They're trying to get cups and sausage and it goes horribly, horribly wrong. And 1,400 people are crushed to death in a stampede.
More meat for the sausages.
More meat for the sausages. We finally have enough. There are some estimates, like 1,400 people is what the state estimates. It's probably more like 3,000 or 4,000 people die. crushed to death in this horrible, like, mass of people. Now, this is considered bad luck for the new Tsar, right? This is his coronation, and he's just killed several thousand of his own people because he let his drunken uncle plan the whole event. Nicholas writes at the time, "This news left me a disgustful impression," and noted that he thought the stampede was a great sin, but he doesn't call off the ceremony or any of, like, the celebrations and stuff. That's not... It's because, like, he seems to want to. He's like, I don't really want to party after 1,400 people or just got stomped to death in my name. I kind of feel like maybe just sitting quietly in a chair. But his uncle,
again,
the Grand...
very Russian.
Yeah. His uncle, the Grand Duke, is like, no, you can't cancel it. We made all these plans. Everyone's coming. You have to do this big event. Like, fuck them. They're just peasants. And a lot of other people in the family are like, yeah, you have to do this. And so
they're right, though.
Kind of, you could see this as like, yeah, like, you have to do this. This is like about more than those people. This is like how the change of power in our state goes, and all of these international people here, like, we just have to do the thing. You could, like, that's definitely a fair take. You could also see it as he feels like something is wrong and will be taken badly by people, and he's not strong enough to stand up to his family.
The optics are bad, I guess. Yeah.
Both of those things could be true also, you know. It's probably better for the other crowned heads of Europe, like, in terms of, like, their opinion of him, that he continues the festivities, but it probably is worse for the peasants.
Fair.
Yeah, and I'm going to quote from a write-up in Russia Beyond. The Moscow Society had considered Nicholas's refusal to stop the parties as disrespect for the victims. In his memoirs, one of the Tsar's men remembers the phrase of an old typesetter in the newspaper printing house. "This means trouble. The rain will bring no good." There were a lot of problems like that. So people are, like, talking about this, you know, like, it definitely is problematic within Russia that he continues the celebrations.
The people are talking, everybody. The people are talking.
The people are talking about the thousands you got killed because you didn't make enough fucking cups. Now, for his part in the disaster, Nicky gets the nickname Bloody Nicholas, which is a dope nickname to have as an emperor, but not for this reason.
Yeah, no, that's like the worst way to
you
get
want it
that
to be
nickname.
The blood of your enemies, right?
Yeah, not the blood of the people that were going to send you off and a congratulations.
Yeah, you don't want to get it because you were you didn't bring enough sausage to the party. Like, that's not why you want to be Bloody Nicholas.
Yeah, it's actually the British version of bloody, where it's fucking Nicholas.
Yeah, fucking Nicholas. Yeah.
Fucking Nicholas. Make the sausage, dipshit.
Now, his brother Georgie, who is still alive at this point, tries to use the disaster to convince Nicholas to sack their uncle, the Grand Duke. He's like, look, Sergei's obviously bad at things. Maybe we shouldn't have him have a government job anymore, because look at all these people he got killed. But Nicky shoots his brother down. And what he says, why he says he's not going to fire his uncle, is really revealing about his character. This is what he's saying to his brother in this argument they're having. "I don't want to talk about Moscow. It makes me sick to remember. It's not particularly comforting to think about the sad side of the coronation. This seems to be a year of hard labor, with me and Alex as the martyrs." 4,000, a 9/11 just died, and he's like, I am the victim here.
I mean, this ties into his old train review.
Yeah.
Oh, the train was awful. We got derailed. 20 people died. But more often, it took us a while
stepping over
home.
Corpses and like, yeah, the plates got broken. I was trying to bring a bottle of wine to a friend and it shattered. It's a real... Oh, that's a lung. Yeah, it's real bad.
Yeah, can I be honest? My steak dinner ruined. Somebody's skull
Spilled
went right into
my
it.
wine. So after losing a couple of thousand peasants and, getting through the coronation, Nicky and Alex settle into a routine of life and work. Nicholas spent most of his time at his desk, in the words of his cousin Sandro, listening with near awe to the bellowing of his towering uncles. Nicky was particularly frightened of his uncle Sergei. Sandro claimed he dreaded being alone with them. And obviously, these are the guys who helped raise him. These are his father's brothers, and he feels inadequate next to them. He's also much smaller than them. I think Sergei's like 6'5", and Nicholas is a little dude. So there's a lot going on here, and he's just he's kind of dominated during the early years of his reign by his just kind of, it's the Sergei show, And as we've established, not a good show.
No. It's one of the worst.
It's like that show that Friends spinoff that was all about Joey. That's the Sergey
Joey,
show. Yeah, Joey. Yeah.
I was going to call it the Big Bang Theory. It's like the biggest thing, but that doesn't mean it's the best.
I would say his dad's show was the Big Bang Theory, or his granddad's show was the Big Bang Theory.
Fair. Very fair.
So after, they get into this routine. You might call it a rut. And Nicky, spends a few years just getting dominated by his uncles. Sandro, who became a naval officer, begs his brother to fire Sandro, his cousin, begs his cousin to fire the Grand Duke. But Nicholas replies, "Sack my father's favorite brother. I believe they're right. You did turn socialist in America." His cousin had just gotten back from America. Like, firing this incredibly incapable racist man would be like communism.
Yeah. My shitty father's favorite shitty dude?
Yeah.
Kinda, man. Yeah, like kinda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe like, I don't know. I think forgiveness is important. It's important for people to have second chances. But I would also I would not give an employee a second chance if they killed 4,000 people.
They killed themselves.
That's going to be a lie.
Trampling.
Yeah. We have our little hiccups every now and then on the podcast. I get something wrong or there's something else goes awry. But I think if one of us were to kill 4,000 people making this podcast, I think that would probably need to be the end of that person's job.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone, Robert.
Yeah. I mean, it would be pretty cool to have Joe Rogan beat us to that. Yeah. We're never going to top that body count. Yeah. That's a shame.
Stop trying to censor him.
So, who's not trying to censor Joe Rogan, Jeff?
I mean, I feel worried.
Really anyone. No one really is.
No, nobody is. No one has tried that at all.
No one at all. But certainly not the podcasts or the whatever. The ads. These ads aren't, where
Joe just threw you off your game there, Robert.
He did. This is my killing 4,000 people at the Tsar's coronation moment.
Hi, this is Jo Winterstein, host of the Spirit Daughter podcast, where we talk about astrology, natal charts, and how to step into your most vibrant life. And I just sat down with a Minnie Driver.
The Irish traveler said when I was 16, you're going to have a terrible time with men.
Actor, storyteller, and unapologetic Aquarian visionary. Aquarius is all about freedom-loving and different perspectives, and I find a lot of people with strong placements in Aquarius are misunderstood. A Sun and Venus in Aquarius in her 7th house spark her unconventional approach to partnership.
He really has taught me to embrace people sleeping in different rooms, on different houses, in different places, but just an embracing of the isness of it all.
If you're navigating your own transformation or just want a chart-side view into how a leading artist integrates astrology, creativity, and real life, this episode is a must listen. Listen to the Spirit Daughter podcast starting on February 24th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
What if mind control is real?
If you could control the behavior of anybody around you, what kind of life would you have?
Can you hypnotically persuade someone to buy a car?
When you look at your car, you're going to become overwhelmed with such good feelings.
Can you hypnotize someone into sleeping with you?
I gave her some suggestions to be sexually aroused.
Can you get someone to join your cult?
NLP was used on me to access my subconscious.
NLP, aka Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is a blend of hypnosis, linguistics, and psychology. Fans say it's like finally getting a user manual for your brain.
It's about engineering consciousness.
Mind Games is the story of NLP. It's crazy cast of disciples and the fake doctor who invented it at a New Age commune and sold it to guys in suits. He stood trial for murder and got acquitted. The biggest mind game of all? NLP might actually work.
This is wild.
Listen to Mind Games on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the A Building. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba. It's 1969. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. had both been assassinated, and Black America was at a breaking point. Rioting and protests broke out on an unprecedented scale.
In Atlanta, Georgia, at Martin's alma mater, Morehouse College, the students had their own protest. It featured two prominent figures in Black history, Martin Luther King Sr. and a young student, Samuel L. Jackson.
To be in what we really thought was a revolution. I mean, people were dying.
1968,
the murder of Dr. King, which traumatized everyone.
The FBI had a role in the murder of a Black Panther leader in Chicago.
This story is about protest. It echoes in today's world far more than it should, and it will blow your mind.
Listen to The A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you do when the headlines don't explain what's happening inside of you? I'm Ben Higgins, and if you can hear me, is where culture meets the soul, a place for real conversation. Each episode, I sit down with people from all walks of life, celebrities, thinkers, and everyday folks, and we go deeper than the polished story. We talk about what drives us, what shapes us, and what gives us hope. We get honest about the big stuff: identity when you don't recognize yourself anymore, loss that changes you, purpose when success isn't enough, peace when your mind won't slow down, faith when it's complicated. Some guests have answers. Most are still figuring it out. If you've ever felt like there has to be more to the story, this show is for you. Listen to If You Can Hear Me on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back.
There it
You know
is.
what I loved about those ads, Jeff?
Zero censorship of meathead podcast hosts.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say less than 1,000 people trampled to death as a result of those ads.
That's
It's going to be really awkward when you listen to the episode again.
Yeah.
And you're like,
There's a
1,000
big
people
rush
being
on
trampled to
Blue
death,
Apron.
trampled to death. Yeah. It's some new insurance company. Do you or 1,000 people got trampled to death?
The Geico tramplings. So Tzar and Tsarina settle into their new life, which, he's working all the time, but not from the same place. They travel constantly throughout the year. Air conditioning isn't really a thing. So at the start of the year, they're in the capital in the Winter Palace, where a whole social season in St. Petersburg revolved around partying while it's really cold outside with the Romanovs and their cousins. So there's all these big dances and balls and things that I think I would rather die than attend. You
don't like big balls?
No, it depends. If they're cradled properly. But
Get it?
I certainly don't like dances.
AC/DC song when they were clever.
Oh yeah, clever.
They were like, "Get it," and you're like, yeah, "We get it, man."
Yeah, AC/DC. We understand the joke.
We get the bit. This is a 4-minute song.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So the Tsar spends a few weeks each year, in the winter doing galas and balls and yada, 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 these big insufferable parties. And then in the spring, they go to their palace, the Peterhof, which is in an area that has nicer springs. And then in late summers, they go on their imperial yacht and sail around the coasts and the Baltic and all that stuff. And then in autumn, they go south and travel to their castles in Poland and hunt throughout the fall.
God, that sounds so dope.
It does sound pretty rad, right? That sounds like a fun life,
man.
Now, he is working 80-hour nightmare weeks and heading religious ceremonies and all this stuff at the time. But yeah, it sounds like a pretty fucking dope work schedule. What's even doper is his noble cousins and uncles who have that lifestyle, but also don't have anything to do. Have zero responsibilities.
That's the life, man.
That's the sweet spot. Not the Tsar, but his first cousin.
Yeah. Tight enough that the blood is very similar, but not so tight that you're going to get murdered in an uprising.
Yeah. And when things go awry, you can just kind of bounce.
Yeah. You're like, I'm actually Dutch.
Yeah. Oh, thank God I spent so much time in Germany. This worked out good for me.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this accent on real quick.
Yeah. So Nicholas keeps a rigorous schedule. He wakes up at 8 every morning. He works until the night most days. Simon Montefiore writes, refusing to delegate, Nicky signed off on trivialities such as every change of name and divorce in the empire, and lists of staff to receive Easter eggs, as well as sentences of exile and death. So he takes this thing of absolute autocrat very seriously, and he is micromanaging. He's doing DMV shit.
Yeah, he's covering a lot of ground.
Yeah,
he's
so
all right, congratulations, you are married, and congratulations, you are beheaded.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I signed the wrong paper.
Yeah. It is we talk about he's working all the time, but a lot of it is stuff that he doesn't need to do. Hey, yeah, you can delegate some of this, buddy, but he doesn't. And And so he has a lot of like busy work. He's again like kind of the national DMV / warlord pope.
It's a weird thing to do, man.
It's a weird way to set up your gigantic country.
To just be like, no, I have to sign off on every divorce.
Yeah. Like no one expects this of you, Nicholas.
Yeah.
So fairly early on in his reign, Nicholas II had to make a crucial decision. Would he follow in his grandfather's footsteps and push for reform, or would he be like his dad, an advocate of sacred autocratism? He chose the latter, vowing that when he had a son, he would pass on to him an intact monarchy. This would prove to be a problem for... Yeah. Oh, Nicky.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Does not wind up being that story. This proved problematic for a couple of reasons. But the first thing that stymied his goal was the fact that Alex just wasn't making baby boys, you know? Obviously, that's not on her. You don't have any choice in the matter. But it's also the most important thing for him to do is to make an heir. Right? Like every czar, job number one is make another boy who can take over.
Keep fucking.
Yeah. It's like, it's a big deal. And like the reign is there's unrest in the kingdom and shit when you don't have an heir because people don't really know as clearly how things are going to shake out. Because even if it's like your first cousin or whatnot, it's a lot messier if it's not the way it's supposed to go in this system. So everybody's got a lot riding on he and Alex having a baby boy. And by God, they try. But they just keep making girls. He has 4 daughters over the course of years. Well, she has 4 daughters, and he helps. It's like a shake and bake situation, you know? And to their credit, they're very devoted to them. There's this story from his first daughter that like his wife starts sobbing when she realizes she's had a daughter because she hasn't, you know, done her duty yet and given him a son. And he reassures her by saying, hey, we're going to have a son one of these days and he's going to belong to Russia. You know, this girl is ours. Like this child is just our daughter. And like, that's great. Yeah, that's a sweet thing to say. Like that's in a situation that can't possibly be healthy, the healthiest way to think about this, I think.
I got to be honest. He sounds like a real wife guy.
He's a wife guy. He is.
And,
he's
I love that
super
for
wife
him.
dude.
I love that for him because apparently everyone else hates his wife.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. And spoiler, his wife sucks. Is trash. His wife's bad, but he is too. So it's a good match. Like, it's like an Ava Brown Hitler situation where it's like, well, you're both deeply unpleasant, but
you know,
at least you found each other.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some people should not ever do anything like Hitler, but we don't have that option.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Canceling Hitler.
Who are you to judge?
Yeah, what was he supposed to do after not getting into art school? What was the Tsar supposed to do other than be the Tsar?
It's his job, man.
Yeah, quit, buddy. Take your money and run. Like, that's the thing. Like, spend a year as the Tsar, socking shit away in Switzerland, then go on a diplomatic trip one day and just never come back.
Just Bruce Wayne at the end of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Just do a fucking Irish goodbye on being the Tsar of all Russia.
Yeah, do a Russian goodbye, you know?
Yeah.
He's just hanging out. Yeah, he's like a tinsmith in like Boston.
Yeah. Figure it out. So when duty kept the Tsar and his wife apart, the emperor and empress would exchange letters on a daily basis. They usually had telegrams, and so they're like texting each other. Like they are corresponding on a rate that is pretty much modern, and they're like the Russian royal family really are the only people in the world who get to do this. I guess there's some other royals like this, but like they're basically texting all the time, and so they talk to each other about everything. And we unfortunately, as a result of this, know a dismal amount about their sex life and what they called each other.
Man, how awkward must that have been for the dude doing
there's
the
just
telegraph?
Some fucking guy who's like writing this down. Yeah.
Okay, titties, 1 or 2 titties?
Yeah.
Or whatever goddamn Cyrillic letter we have.
Message back for confirmation.
Yeah. Do you want to come on my neck? Did you mean neck?
Yeah.
All right, neck. Good for them.
His pet name or her pet name for him was Boise. Like Boysy, not like Idaho. And his pet name for her was Lady, which is fine. It's just some funny texture, not judging them, whatever. Everybody has weird pet names. One example letter reads, this is going to be hard to get through.
Do it in an accent. It'll be easier.
Tell Boise that lady sends him her tenderest love and kisses and often thinks of him in lonely, sleepless nights. Like, it's sweet. They love each other, but it's
I
also
swear to God,
insufferable. Yeah.
I expected something a lot more like graphically sexual.
No, they're too boring for that. Here's how boring they are. They talk about their sex life a lot, but it's all pretty bland. Because he's such a repressed dude in the 1800s, the Tsar is terrified to use the word period. So when he's like messaging her on the telegram as he's driving back on a train and wants to know, like, are we going to be able to fuck? Because he's obviously, he's not that cool. So he's asking, like, are we going to be able to fuck when I get back? And so he'll ask, is Madam Baker home? That's his like slang for like, are you having a period?
That's fair, because remember, this is going through two
other people are reading this them. Like it
so,
makes
like,
sense.
I know he's not gonna be like, how's that puss?
Yeah.
He's not gonna do that.
I mean, other people do in this period, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, they're a little more coy. He also calls it the military engineer. So I will also
remind you, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I would also like to remind you that we're talking about this now. So he was
funny,
very correct to not be too graphic about this, because we're like, let's talk about this other dipshit telegraph that he wrote.
Yeah, Google James Joyce love letters and see how it can go when your shit gets into someone else's hands.
Yeah. I'm good about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find it funny. That's not a particular moral mark against them. Like, it is interesting to me that they are basically like sexting each other in the 1800s because they have the ability. Like, they get to use telegram machines that way. But also it means that someone else has to do all of the actual sexting for them, which is awkward. So,
and some guy that's most likely wearing an official uniform.
Yeah, he's got the biggest hat you've seen in your life.
He's at work doing this. He's at work sexting a wife.
Yeah. How was your job, honey? I don't want to talk about it.
Let me tell you, this baker lady won't go away. And she's there every month. She shows up to her place.
It's really irritating, the Tsar. So Nicholas doesn't seem to have really liked his cousin, Kaiser Wilhelm, because nobody liked Kaiser Wilhelm.
Ever.
Never. Weird dude. Horny for his mom's hands. But he came calling regularly on, like, Kaiser Wilhelm came to Russia to hang out with Nicky pretty regularly. And this is for totally self-serving reasons. Again, he wants to get back into an alliance with Russia. So he's like always dropping by to be like, hey, can I borrow your entire military in the event of a European conflict?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of what usually happens. And he starts trying to, like, as part of his plan to win back the Tsar, he tries to convince Nicky to expand in Asia rather than expanding into Europe. Because, like, Germany's doing some expandy stuff in this period, right? They're unifying, they're getting their shit locked down. They're quarreling with a couple of folks. And he doesn't
no big deal.
Yeah, it ends fine, but he doesn't want the Tsar to look towards Europe. He wants him to, like, look towards Asia, and also the Kaiser kind of has some designs for taking part of China, which is sort of falling apart in this period. And so he's like, hey, why don't we, like, steal a little bit of China? And because he's the Kaiser and very racist, he describes this as setting Russia up to, quote, defend Europe from the inroads of the Great Yellow Race. All of the letters in this that racist phrase are capitalized, I think, by the Kaiser, who also spoke great English.
I mean, at least they called him great.
He did say great. Yeah, I don't think he meant it in a good way. And he advocated working together to steal a bunch of ports from China. And Russia really wants a Chinese port because China has some ports that don't freeze. And all of the ports in Russia freeze at some point, right? Like, it's not... or all of the ports, at least on the east side of the empire. They've got that problem. He wants, like, a warm weather port, and he wants to take it from China. And this is kind of like, you know, the Kaiser is sort of like really pushing this, but Nicholas definitely wants, again, as we said, like, every Tsar's job is to expand the empire. And this is kind of the only real place to expand. So Nicholas, he hasn't made an heir yet. He can't put another a boy into the imperial, you know, baby cavern or whatever you want to call it. But he can conquer some land for Russia and maybe prove that he deserves to be the Tsar that way. So he seizes Port Arthur on the Chinese coast because, again, China's sort of falling apart. And the Kaiser's like, yeah, this is a great idea. Do it. So he sends troops.
He's
in
like
and
such a shit talker. He's like, yeah, man, do it.
Yeah,
dude.
it's gonna go great for everybody.
It's like Jackass.
Yeah, but
I'm Nicholas II, and this is invading China.
This is conquering the Chinese coast. And his ministers in the Navy are like, this is a bad idea, bro. You don't know what you're getting into, bro. We don't have a lot of troops on that side of it is far the fuck away from Moscow. I don't know if you know how big your country is, but like, it's going to be a problem fighting in China for us. But the Tsar is like, nope, I want a port. And the Navy's even like, well, this is a bad one if you're going to go through this, if you're going to like take all the risks of seizing a port from China, this isn't a very good port. Why don't we like go further south and take a port in Korea? And his prime minister at the time, a guy named Witt, who we'd met, used to be running the trains and stuff, points out that this is going to fuck up the alliance that he already has with China. He's got like treaties because he's building the Trans-Siberian Railway, which goes through territory China controls. So he has like a treaty with China, and his prime minister is like, well, they're not going to be happy with you if you start conquering them.
Yeah, I don't know if you know what a treaty is.
Yeah. Do you understand how
picking a fight
work?
with someone in the treaty is like, that's like a no-no.
Yeah. And Witt is also like, Japan's not going to be cool with this because they're Japan is waging war in China right now. They are actively conquering chunks of China, and Japan and Russia are at peace at the moment. And Witt is like, do you really want to like fuck with Japan in like their sphere of influence? Because like, we're not great at fighting over there. It's kind of far away. But the young Tsar didn't listen. And again, his two duties are to expand the empire and to make a baby. So like, he sees this as like, this is the one thing I can do. And during his world tour, that big road trip we talked about last episode, Nicky had met a prince named Esper, who was really into Buddhism. And this prince had claimed like, hey, the people at Tibet are waiting for the great white Tsar to conquer Tibet from China and free them. Everybody in Tibet wants to be ruled by the Tsar. You just you overthrow the British who are running things at the moment in there, and like they're going to be psyched with you, which is not true. Classic Tibet. Everybody just has a picture of a Russian dude on their wall one day.
Yeah. The Dalai Lama just has an Ivan Drago poster hanging up in his wall.
So Nicky was very superstitious and religious, and he was entranced by this vision of himself as a great white Tsar. Driven by fantasies of a Russia expanded across Manchuria and Korea, he committed more and more of his troops to Asia. Now, his brother dies in July of 1899 from tuberculosis. And when his brother dies, that's like the last reasonable voice that he's sometimes listened to. He's got wit. He's got some like ministers that are reasonable, but he doesn't give a shit what they say because they're not the Tsar.
They weren't God-given.
Yeah, exactly. He did kind of sometimes, not all the time, not often, listen to Georgie, but now Georgie's, dead as shit. So this isn't going to go great for anybody. Least of all China. Now, in 1900, we have the Boxer Rebellion, which is this big populist uprising against the West in China. A bunch of embassies in Peking get besieged, and like everybody who's not China puts a big army together to go fuck up China. It's pretty fucked up.
Boxer Rebellion's interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. This is like a criminally brief explanation of what happens.
I mean, it's a lot of people it's some dudes that thought they were in Crouching Tiger, and it did not go the way it was planned.
It did not. Nothing. None of this goes well. Nicholas doesn't really want to send troops to China. He's like very anxious about actually having his soldiers in Peking. But he's also bullish on conquering a bunch of China. So after his troops get back from the Boxer Rebellion, he sends 170,000 soldiers into Manchuria, which he does not control. And his goal is to provoke a reaction that will justify like conquering all of Manchuria, which Japan is fighting over at the time and is owned by China. So he's really just like sticking his national dick in a hornet's nest for no real reason. Like
I love that phrasing.
Yeah, he is about to fuck a hornet's nest. But you know who won't fuck a hornet's nest, Jeff?
Go on. Who would that be?
Well, would.
Well, they'll have you cook one first.
Yeah, they would have you. Well, you would marinate your dick in bee venom or hornet venom, and then
or like
cook it
like a or something.
Yeah, probably do it.
Filled with hornets.
Or the Washington State Highway Patrol, mostly hornets. Anyway, here's some ads.
Hi, this is Jo Winterstein, host of the Spirit Daughter podcast, where we talk about astrology, natal charts, and how to step into your most vibrant life. And I just sat down with a Minnie Driver.
The Irish traveller said when I was 16, you're going to have a terrible time with men.
Actor, storyteller, and unapologetic Aquarian visionary. Aquarius is all about freedom loving and different perspectives. And I find a lot of people with strong placements in Aquarius are misunderstood. A Sun and Venus in Aquarius in her 7th house spark her unconventional approach to partnership.
He really has taught me to embrace people sleeping in different rooms, on different houses, in different places, but just an embracing of the isness of it all.
If you're navigating your own transformation or just want a chart side view into how a leading artist integrates astrology, creativity, and real life, this episode is a must listen. Listen to the Spirit Daughter podcast starting on February 24th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
What if mind control is real?
If you could control the behavior of anybody around you, what kind of life would you have?
Can you hypnotically persuade someone to buy a car?
When you look at your car, you're going to become overwhelmed with such good feelings.
Can you hypnotize someone into sleeping with you?
I gave her some suggestions to be sexually aroused.
Can you get someone to join your cult?
NLP was used on me to access my subconscious.
NLP, aka Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is a blend of hypnosis, linguistics, and psychology. Fans say it's like finally getting a user manual for your brain.
It's about engineering consciousness.
Mind Games is the story of NLP. Its crazy cast of disciples and the fake doctor who invented it at a New Age commune and sold it to guys in suits. He stood trial for murder and got acquitted. The biggest mind game of all? NLP might actually work.
This is wild.
Listen to Mind Games on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the A Building. I'm Hans Charles.
I'm Menelik Lumumba. It's 1969. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. had both been assassinated, and Black America was at a breaking point. Rioting and protests broke out on an unprecedented scale.
In Atlanta, Georgia, at Martin's alma mater, Morehouse College, the students had their own protest. It featured two prominent figures in Black history, Martin Luther King Sr. and a young student, Samuel L. Jackson.
To be in what we really thought was a revolution. I mean, people were dying.
1968, the murder of Dr. King, which traumatized everyone.
The FBI had a role in the murder of a Black Panther leader in Chicago.
This story is about protest. It echoes in today's world far more than it should, and it will blow your mind.
Listen to the A Building on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you do when the headlines don't explain what's happening inside of you? I'm Ben Higgins, and if you can hear me, is where culture meets the soul, a place for real conversation. Each episode, I sit down with people from all walks of life, celebrities, thinkers, and everyday folks, and we go deeper than the polished story. We talk about what drives us, what shapes us, and what gives us hope. We get honest about the big stuff, identity when you don't recognize yourself anymore, loss that changes you, purpose when success isn't enough, peace when your mind won't slow down, faith when it's complicated. Some guests have answers. Most are still figuring it out. If you've ever felt like there has to be more to the story, this show is for you. Listen to If You Can Hear Me on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we're back. Jeff just got his first bleep.
I did. And then you know what? I got to be honest. Felt great.
It does. It does.
You're trying to censor me? I'm the new Joe Rogan.
That's right. You're gonna crowdfund $500,000 off of this.
You can't censor me. I'm uncensorable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a straight white man with a background in fighting. You can't get rid of
me. You are the anti-Rogan. We could get you guys to touch and
we'd merge together like Time Cop.
Yeah, and then you would produce season 5 of Serial. I don't know how that works out, but it does. Anyway, Jeff. So how do you feel all this goes? Getting involved in China, trying to take a China, futzing with Japan, flipping them off a little bit. Think this goes good?
I've seen The Princess Bride. I know for a fact you never get involved in a land war in Asia.
You sure do not. And you really don't want to fuck with like early 1900s Japan. They have their shit together.
They're doing okay. They had some lulls. They had some ups and some downs. Japan's been pretty victorious, all things considered. Mm-hmm. China, they did not have a great second half of the 19th century.
You kind of can fuck with China in this period, which is why the entire world does repeatedly.
I mean, Jesus Christ, how many drug dealing wars did we have in order to protect our right to turn the entire country into opium addicts?
Yeah, and it was all for tea. That's right, everybody. Look it up. British invaded a country to force them to buy drugs so that they could get tea more easily.
That's so us.
Not even top 10 of British Empire crimes. Like,
yeah, man, the open door policy and the opium wars is so wild.
It's real. We really need to get into that more on this because it is a fascinating period, and it says just everything about the kind of individuals who were involved in colonialism in this period. One of whom is Nicholas II. So, in 1901, the Tsar and Tsarina have their last daughter. They've had 4 so far. I think it's 4. Who can keep track of them? The Bolsheviks could. Well, maybe. It kind of depends on what you believe.
They were in little nesting dolls. Each one's a new daughter.
He just keeps popping. They have the one daughter, and they just keep popping her in half and pulling out another daughter.
And then inside is a tiny little son.
A tiny little son who can't bleed right. So about a month after they have their last daughter, 2 princesses who married into the Romanov family, they're called the Crows in Simon Montefiore's book. They're kind of occultists. They're really into like weird witchy stuff, but like
cool
Christian, I think.
Man.
It's pretty dope. There's a lot of that going around in this period. They introduced Nicholas and Alexandra to a French healer. These princesses were originally from Montenegro, and they were part of they were into these really occult Christian traditions. And they introduced the Romanovs into like the world of like weird spiritual healers. And Nicholas and Alexandra fall hard for this shit. And I'm going to quote from the Romanovs. First, the sisters introduced Nikki and Alex to the epileptic holy idiot Mitka Kolibia. But when
you just sounded like Porky Pig right there.
The fucking names. That was amazing. But then one of the sisters' sons falls ill, and she consults a French peasant boy who, working at his uncle's butcher shop, had experienced an epiphany and set himself up as a hierophant, specializing in the power of psychic fluids and astral forces to heal sickness and cure female sterility. Now, this guy's name is Philippe, and by the time the Tsar and Tsarina meet him, he's about 50, small, with black hair and black mustache, very unsightly in appearance, with an ugly southern French accent, as someone close to the Romanovs writes. As Nikki and Alex struggled to conceive a boy, Philippe visited Petersburg. At the palace of the Crows, and one of the Crow women and her husband, the Grand Duke Peter, noted Nikki, "This evening we met the amazing Frenchman." So they fall for this guy hard. And it's it's a Rasputin kind of thing. It's exactly that.
Yeah, these people are what we refer to as marks.
Yes, they are. They would be devastatingly online and fall for every single scam.
They'd be Q.
Number one, the Tsar would have like 1,000 NFTs right now. They would be pouring bleach down their kids' throats. They would have bought into everything.
Trying to escape the palace. They got caught with 17 pounds of Bored Ape pictures they were running out of.
Yeah, these are, I can't emphasize this enough, not smart people.
My apes, my precious apes.
My precious apes all gone. The Bolsheviks.
How could you do this to me? This was the future.
Yeah. And then you've got like Stalin in a room with, I don't know, one of the red generals. And they're like, now that Lenin is dead, the Bored Apes can go to the people. And Stalin looks at the Bored Ape and puts it in his pocket. No,
this is my ape.
All apes are Stalin's. So the Romanovs fall for this guy fucking immediately. They start calling him our friend with the F capitalized, which is what they call Rasputin decades later or years later. And they take him immediately into their confidence. Again, these people have like no guile at all. Like they're like, a holy man who can heal using magic. Let's tell him every state secret we have.
I would love for you to plant these beans.
Mm-hmm. It
Sooner
would have been
or later, large beanstalk.
It would have been very easy to spy on the Tsar and Tsarina if, like, you were a little good at tricking people. Like, if you're a close-up magician, you could just
the finger pulling apart thing. Perhaps you would like to see this rupel behind your ear.
Yeah. I've watched a man pull his finger in half. We must give him our boy's health.
Yeah, or he will be pulling us all in half.
Yeah. So
just lose every dime at a carnival. Just
one carnival would have ruined the Romanovs.
Ruined their life.
So the Tsar's actual doctors are like,
with carnies.
You cannot take this man's advice. He has graduated from no school and he has no medical license. Like, you can't take his advice on your wife's fertility, or on the health of your children. What are you doing? And the Tsar is like, oh, your problem with him is that he doesn't have a license? Well, I'll make him a medical doctor by declaration and give him a medical license.
Oh, no, that's not how it works.
It does in Russia.
That's not. Dude, that's not how it works.
It's very funny. Simon Montefiore continues. Soon Philippe was giving political advice. When Nikki met Kaiser Wilhelm, Alex told her husband, "Our dear friend will be near you and help you answering William's questions," giving him the toughness to be friendly and severe so that he realizes he dare not joke with you, that he learns to be afraid of you. As for reform, Philippe advised Nikki that a constitution would be the ruin of Russia. In the spring of 1902, Alex fell pregnant and our friend was prophesying Russia was chosen to dominate the Far East. So this guy is reinforcing, again, he's doing the thing that, like, helps you con powerful people. You tell them what they want to hear. The Tsar wants to hear, no, the people don't need a constitution, and yes, you're going to conquer China.
Yeah,
smart guy.
Which is such a big gamble.
Yeah, it's a horrible gamble.
Yeah, like you're going to be able to do this one very hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
You sure about that?
Yeah, the guy who fell for my tricks are going to be able to tie this knot.
Yeah, this fucking rube. You're going to be able to take care of it all.
Oh, yeah, it's going to go great for you. Send more guys to China. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, you know what? I got a mustache. Fucking do it.
Yeah. So at this point, absolutely nothing but garbage is getting into the Tsar's brain, right? Like his information funnel is just pure trash. Now he's introduced by Sandro, who's normally like who's his cousin and is normally like one of the more level-headed people around him, to a captain named Bezobrazov, who wants to be the Cecil Rhodes of Russia, and basically is like, send me over to Asia and I'll conquer it for you. I think your historic destiny is to conquer the East, and I'm going to do it for you, right? Me, Bezobrazov, I'm going to be the guy. You like give me troops and money, and I'll conquer Manchuria for you, and Korea too.
Give me enough troops and enough money, and I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to. I mean, from what I remember of the Korean War, pretty easy war.
Honestly, I'm going to be like so easy that I barely even remember it happening.
Barely even talk about it. It's like a forgotten war or something, probably because it was so boring. So
more like warring.
Yeah. Japan is engaged at this point. They're again trying to conquer China.
Congratulations, Japan.
Yeah, it doesn't work out great for them either.
Different.
Mm-hmm. They're not getting married. You would not call this a marriage. So they start clashing with Russia diplomatically over the fact that Russia's expanding into the areas that Japan is already trying to conquer. And Japan does not want a war with Russia because it's a bad idea to go to war with Russia historically, most of the time.
Japan likes to avoid wars that are not defensive in general until they see the opportunity. You don't want to leave the island for a war with Russia. It's not a good idea.
It's not. I mean, especially you're already fighting this war with China, right? Like you're trying to, you're engaged in conflict all over. Your resources are extended, and Russia's huge and rich. You don't really want to fuck with them, and they have a reputation as being a good naval power too. And maybe Japan doesn't really want to like test this shit.
Yeah, just look at their Tsar. He's dressed like a sailor.
Yeah, look at him. He's got to be great with boats. He's wearing that little outfit.
Yeah, he's dressed like a sailor his whole goddamn life.
Now, Japan is scared of getting into a fight with Russia, but because he's listening to Bezobrazov, Nicholas is not at all frightened of a war with Japan. He thinks it's going to be a cakewalk. And Bezobrazov convinces him that conflict is inevitable. So the best thing to do is to start threatening Japan with open war and basically like, hey, if we lay our cards out on the table, they'll either fight us and we'll win, or they won't fight us and we'll get our shit. right? Like that's Bezobrazov's attitude. He tells the Tsar, only the bayonet can guarantee the success of our activities in Manchuria. It does not. So despite the fact that this guy is kind of unhinged, Nicky gives him 2 million rubles and sends him east on a secret mission to set up a paramilitary force in Manchuria to help them conquer it, which Bezobrazov has, there's nothing in his background that would make him capable of this.
Yeah, that's when you make that Irish goodbye. That's when you just are like,
you just take that money and bounce.
Yeah, that is a bounceable amount of money to have.
But he does not bounce. And when he finds out, Witt, who's, again, one of the few reasonable people in the Tsar's orbit, laments that a, quote, half-mad, preposterous adventurer is purely in charge of their policy in the East. So Nicholas is basically like, yeah, crazy dude, do whatever you want. You're in charge of Russia's policy towards China. This is going to end well.
That's like giving Mel Gibson's character from Lethal Weapon in charge of that. Like, it's just like a very unhinged existence to see somebody be in charge of anything with.
Yeah, it's not a great call. And while Nicholas is edging Japan towards the brink of war, shit is not copacetic in the imperial interior. This article by Shlomo Lambrosa, writing for Oxford University Press, lays out the situation. The lack of any substantive reform policy, compounded by a deteriorating economy, led to increased incidents of popular violence. Poor harvests in 1902 and 1903 caused wide-scale unrest in rural areas. Peasants roamed the countryside in search of work and food, occasionally resorting to violence. In 1902, in the provinces of Kharkov and Poltava, peasants looted homes from the nobility, causing thousands of rubles worth of damage. So that is a problem for the Russians, right? It's not a problem when people are starving, but now rich people
are for the Russians.
Yeah. Like, oh shit.
Like, small pockets of the poor are rising up against the nobility.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should just do the same thing for the next 16 years.
Yeah, I guess we should continue taking no changes whatsoever and maybe start a war with Japan. Yeah, so the fact that the economy is falling apart, it doesn't, unfortunately, like there are some isolated pockets of people going after nobles. For the most part, they go after the people that Russian peasants go after and Russian nobles go after when they're angry. They make the same call that Alexander III does. They go after the Jews.
When in doubt.
Again, this is why like tens of thousands of Jewish people are leaving Russia every year, because it's not an easy spot.
They're like, you know what's better? Brooklyn.
Yeah, it sounds like that's got to be a lot safer for us. In 1903, all of this culminates in the first pogrom of the century in a city named Kishinev. It started with what was basically a drunken party where several kids vandalized Jewish property. So you get these like young kind of nationalist right-wing youth, and they vandalize a synagogue, and then some Jewish-owned shops, and things just kind of keep escalating.
Thank God that doesn't happen in modern times anymore.
Yeah, we got that out of the species' system.
Thank God the Jews are no longer targeted by hate crimes anymore.
That's what everyone says about the Jews. It's that things are simple.
Things are great for them now, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to quote from the Harvard Crimson here, or Harvard Gazette here. Sorry, not the Crimson. Fuck the Crimson. This is the Harvard Gazette. Gangs of 10 or 20 armed with hatchets and knives stormed through the town's narrow streets and into its courtyards, where Jewish families defended themselves with garden implements and other meager weapons. In the end, 49 Jews were killed, and an untold number of Jewish women were raped, and 1,500 Jewish homes were damaged. This sudden rush of hoodlum violence, prompted by accusatory rumors of Jewish ritual murder, quickly became a talisman of Imperial Russian brutality against its Jews. So, yeah.
Cut it out, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just cut it out.
It's not great.
Uncool.
Yeah, maybe don't. Have you tried not?
Yeah. Have you tried not being a dick about it?
And his empire? Maybe not. So Nicky, when he hears about this big pogrom, he puts a dude in charge of dealing with it. A minister named Pleve, who has taken part in anti-Semitic violence before and is one of the most infamous anti-Semites in the Russian government. And actually, Pleve becomes one of the more moderate people around him, which is not great. But his move, he fires the governor of Kishinev, which fine. And Nicky seems to barely kind of notice that a pogrom has happened. This does not really take up a lot of cycles in his brain. He's concerned with the fact that his wife is pregnant again.
Yeah, I was going to say he's probably too busy sexting.
Yeah, he is too busy sexting, does not care about this pogrom. On the day of it, he's just kind of like writing home to his wife about shit. This doesn't seem to really left a mark on him at all. And he and his wife continue to get all of their medical advice from Philippe. This was deeply worrying to the old Empress, the Tsar's mother. And so she sends a secret agent with the Okhrana, Russian Secret Service, to investigate Philippe, this healer. And the investigation realizes, like, this guy has been charged with practicing medicine without a license in France a bunch. Like, he's a
tiny
grifter. He's like
French
literally
carny.
a con artist. Yeah, he's this one carny got close to the Tsar and immediately conned his ass.
Smooth as shit, man. This guy could talk himself anywhere.
And when this report was brought to the Tsar, he fires the agent who writes it, not Philippe. And Philippe's health advice during this pregnancy that Alex is having is that she's not allowed to be weighed or inspected by doctors in any way whatsoever. And the reason is because she's not actually pregnant. She's like, some people, she may have had like kind of a miscarriage or something, basically. We don't really know. He may have just been lying to her and trying to get her to put on a little weight and telling her that she was pregnant so that he could try to get a bunch of money out of them. It's kind of unclear exactly what happened, but he definitely...
It's a fun con.
Yeah. He knows she's not pregnant because he's like, oh yeah, don't let anybody weigh you and don't let the doctors look at you.
But also like, eat this hoagie.
Yeah, eat this hoagie.
Eat this 6-foot party sub that I got delivered.
And the Tsar and Tsarina are like, that makes sense. Now, obviously, eventually, you can only hide from someone that they're not pregnant for so long. There is a point at which it will become very clear that you were not pregnant. This happens. When it does, this does kind of break the spell a little bit, and Nicholas finally fires Philippe. Simon Montfiore writes, before he left, laden with presents, including a Serpollet motor car, he gave the Empress a little bell that would ring if dark forces lurked. Philippe died soon afterwards, but not before he had warned that he would merely vanish and then reappear. Sometime you will have another friend like me who will speak to you of God. That's good.
You ain't never had a friend like me. He's Aladdin genieing him.
He is genieing him, and he's also like setting him up for Rasputin, which I kind of... He must have known he was an old man. Like, he must have known he didn't have that much longer. I wonder if he was just like, I'm going to do a solid for the next con man who gets close to these idiots. You know,
you gotta look out for the next generation.
Yeah, he's really setting shit up for Rasputin. Like, another guy is going to come and con these rich people out of more of their stuff. And I want it to be easy for him because fuck them.
There is something fascinating about these like mystics that the Tsars are pulling in at the end here, the Romanovs. Because like they say shit that's like oddly like it's an odd portent. Like they'll say shit that like, because when we talk about like Rasputin, he's like, he does this thing.
We'll read
like,
some of them. Like, he's got some really prophetic sounding stuff.
The ones I remember being very specific. He's like, if you kill me, you are fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. This war is going to go bad. Like, but also if you're Rasputin and you're a pretty good con man and you know these people, it's a safe bet to be like, I'll just tell them things are going to get real bad because they probably are going to keep getting real bad because these people are stupid.
That shit.
Yeah. I don't know, Jeff. But I do know that that's going to be the end of part 2. You got some pluggables?
Man, let's do it. Let's do it for this week. Like I said, if you guys find me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Hey There Jeffro, come say hi. I'm actually pretty funny on the old Twitter.
Damn straight.
We have a good time on there. You can also check out my shows. I have Jeff Has Cool Friends, which is available at patreon.com/JeffMay for early uncensored episodes with bonus content, or you can listen to it for free a week later. I have a lot of really cool friends. If you're a nerd, you'd absolutely love it. I also have Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on the Gamefully Unemployed Network. You can check that out with Tom Ryman, as well as You Don't Even Like Sports and Unpopular Opinion, both on the Unpops Network with Adam Todd Brown. Robert, what do you got to plug, man? Tell me something. Tell me something good.
Well, I got a novel called After the Revolution. You can pre-order it now and get it signed. If you Google AK Press After the Revolution, you can find my novel. It'll come signed to your house. So order that shit. Check it out.
Hell yeah, I'm going to do that. I want you to know my address.
I will not, but someone at AK Press will learn your address.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's and we'll use it for unsettling purposes. That's the guarantee.
Ooh, unsavory books.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us at Behind the Bastards this week. Come back next week for several more hours of talking about Tzar Nicholas II.
So much Nicholas II.
Way too much Nicholas II. An irresponsible amount
not
of Nicholas
enough
II.
Nicholas II, I would say.
That's what Nicholas II said right before he got shot by the Bolsheviks.
That's fair. He's like, maybe a few more weeks.
I feel like more of me would have been good. I was really going to pull it out in the last quarter.
Give me a chance,
I can fix.
I can change, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's
2
not
million dead. Tiny war. Fine.
Perfect. All right, I'll see you next week.
All right. Bam.
What if mind control is real?
If you could control the behavior of anybody around you, what kind of life would you have?
Can you hypnotically persuade someone to buy a car?
When you look at your car, you're going to become overwhelmed with such good feelings.
Can you hypnotize someone into sleeping with you?
I gave her some suggestions to be sexually aroused.
Can you get someone to join your cult?
NLP was used on me to access my subconscious.
Mind Games, a new podcast exploring NLP, aka Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Is it a self-help miracle, a shady hypnosis scam, or both? Listen to Mind Games on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can scroll the headlines all day and still feel empty. I'm Ben Higgins, and If You Can Hear Me is where culture meets the soul. Honest conversations about identity, loss, purpose, peace, faith, and everything in between. Celebrities, thinkers, everyday people, some have answers, most are still figuring it out. And if you've ever felt like there has to be more to the story, this show is for you. Listen to If You Can Hear Me on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Amanda Knox, and in the new podcast, Doubt, the Case of Lucy Letby, we unpack the story of an unimaginable tragedy that gripped the UK in 2023. But what if we didn't get the whole story?
Evidence has been made to fit.
The moment you look at the whole picture, the case collapsed.
What if the truth was disguised by a story we chose to believe?
Oh my God, I think she might be innocent.
Listen to Doubt, the Case of Lucy Letby on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, it's Jill Winterstein, host of the Spirit Daughter podcast, where we talk about astrology, natal charts, and how to step into your most vibrant life. And today I'm talking with my dear friend, Krista Williams.
It can change you in the best way possible. Dance with the change, dance with the breakdowns.
The embodiment of Pisces intuition with Capricorn power moves.
So I'm delusionally proud of my chart.
Listen to the Spirit Daughter podcast starting on February 24th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.